Hello everybody, this is your weekly video for US oil for the trading week ending Friday 8th of April 2022, and I'm recording this video after New York is closed, so I have final volume data. Assume the upward trend remains intact now while price remains above 84.22. The final target will be calculated when I can see intermediate 4 again complete. I'm swapping over the main and alternate Elliott Wave counts. I'm expecting it's more likely now that we may get just a little bit more downward movement early next week before that trend resumes. Elliott Wave analysis first, classic analysis last. The bigger picture for the Elliott Wave count sees this huge downward movement from the all-time high to this important low in 2020 as a corrective structure, a counter-trend movement. So at the quarterly chart level, the trend direction for oil would be upwards. I'm seeing this downward movement as supercycle 2, subdividing as a double zigzag, where 2 ends, 3 begins. One of the core Elliott Wave rules is that 3 must move beyond the end of 1, and it has to move far enough above 1 to allow 4 to have room to unfold and remain above 1 price territory. So I don't have a target for 3, but it is substantially above the end of 1, considering those core Elliott Wave rules. Another core rule is 3 may only subdivide as an impulse. That'll be labelled at cycle degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apart from a zigzag, it's the simplest Elliott Wave structure. My wave count sees cycle wave 1 incomplete. When cycle wave 1 is a complete 5-wave impulse, then cycle wave 2 should unfold and will be expected to find support at the upper edge of this channel. And so this channel on this monthly chart is going to be important in coming months, but we're not there yet. 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 below 10.24. Let's take a closer look at 1 at the weekly chart from this low here, this point here, cycle wave 1, labelled at primary degree as an impulse. Primary 1 is not extended, it's short. Primary 2, primary 3 is longer than 1. Primary 4 exhibits alternation with 1, and primary 5 looks incomplete, with intermediate 1, 2, 3, 4 to move a bit lower, and then 5. I've drawn an Elliott channel around primary 5 from 1 to 3 with a copy on 2. It's not containing downward movement. Sometimes fourth waves breach these channels drawn using Elliott's first technique. When the fourth wave is complete, then the channel will have to be redrawn using Elliott's second technique, which is from 2 to 4 with a copy on 3, to show us where 5 may end. I can't do that yet. I can't do it until 4 may be complete. 4 may move a little bit lower next week, and it can't move into wave 1 price territory below 85.41. Let's take a look at how 4 is unfolding at the daily chart level, with the end of 3 here is this point here. 4 may be unfolding as a double zigzag W, X, Y, with Y, A, B, C incomplete. The purpose of a second zigzag in the double is to deepen a correction when the first zigzag doesn't move price deep enough. To achieve that purpose, we'll expect minor Y to move below the end of W, but intermediate 4 may not move into intermediate 1 price territory below 85.41. It's classic analysis, which now is determining the probability of this wave count from Elliott Wave point of view. There's a problem here in that there's no alternation between the double zigzag of intermediate 4 and possibly a double zigzag of intermediate 2. There's no alternation in structure, but there will still be alternation in depth, so there will be some alternation. Alternation is a guideline, not a rule. It's just not always seen. Alternatively, if intermediate 4 is over here as a single zigzag, there is alternation in both structure and depth. Intermediate 4 is shallower than intermediate 2. Intermediate 2 is a double zigzag. Intermediate 4 is a single zigzag. The problem here is minor 2 has strongly breached the lower edge of this channel, which is drawn using Elliott's first technique. If this is minor 2 with an intermediate 5, and intermediate 4 ended back here, then the lower edge of that channel should have been respected, and it just hasn't been. That reduces the probability of this wave count, but it remains valid while price remains above 93.54. Minor 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 below 93.54. This wave count has a target for intermediate 5 for it to reach equality in length with 3 at 160.54. The main Elliott wave count will probably have a target fairly close to that, eventually when I can calculate it. Okay, classic analysis now. At the weekly chart level, this week sees a reduction in range and a reduction in volume for downward movement. There's a bearish signal from on-balance volume, but it's really weak. This trend line is not long held, and it's only got the minimum required 2 anchor points you need to draw a trend line. But it's a weak bearish signal with a break below support. Price is finding support about 95 still. With reducing volume and reducing range, if we do get more downward movement as the main wave count expects, it may not be by much. And the main wave count doesn't expect much more downward movement, just a little bit. RSI is in neutral territory. ADX now indicates the upward trend is extreme. Stochastics neutral, and ATR continuing to increase as price moves sideways suggests that there probably is still an upward trend in place. With stochastics neutral and ATR only just extreme and not very extreme, there's plenty of room for an upward trend to continue before it gets into dangerous territory of very extreme conditions. At the daily chart level, a little bit of volume pushing price lower on downward sessions, and the last upward session, which is complete, shows weak range and weaker volume. So for the very short term, the volume profile looks bearish. Support continuing to hold though about 95. If price breaks below support there, look out for next support about 85. The last signal from on-balance volume was bearish, not particularly strong, but it was bearish. On-balance volume broke below support, and then it tested resistance there. ADX is indicating no clear trend, it's still declining. There's a potential trend change to down back here, but no downward trend at the daily chart is indicated yet. RSI neutral, stochastics oversold. With stochastics oversold and ADX indicating no clear trend, and price at support, if we do get more downward movement, it may not be by much. The daily chart expects to see a bounce about here, so kind of supporting the main Elliott wave count, which expects just a little bit more downward movement, not too much. That's all from me this week with your oil analysis. I hope all our members are looking forward to an awesome weekend.